Hi, welcome to KatieOTalks. My name's Katie, and this is where I am going to be talking about my hobbies. This is my second video on the channel, but I have had about a year in between the last video and this video, so let's see if I can keep some momentum this time. I really would like to document my hobbies and see if I can create something out of it. I have a lot of hobbies and I want to be able to share them with people who are interested, because I have a lot of people in my life who, do have hobbies, but there's not like that alignment on all of them. For instance, I have 0 knitting friends. Part of that is because I'm too shy to go to my local knit nights, so that's a goal that I have. It is a goal that I have this year to make it a regular thing that I go to a knit night. But in the meantime, I would like to create some sort of place where I can talk about stuff, whether people watch it or not. At least I'm talking about it, and maybe somebody will find it that's interested. Anyway, I am starting Tour de Fleece today. I learned how to spin last year. I learned on drop spindles, and this year I am working on learning to spin on an e-spinner. I got the EEW Nano because I'm broke, and so it was the most accessible thing to me, and I'm really glad that I got that one. It's super easy to get set up and use and learn, and I really think that learning on that is going to give me a good head start so that whenever I move on, hopefully to a different wheel, or a bigger wheel at least, I will be able to know what I'm doing. I'm learning that drafting on a drop spindle and drafting on a wheel does kind of feel a little bit different, so I'm kind of learning how to manipulate the fiber a little bit differently. I'm also spinning different fibers than I have in the past, so most of what I've spun with so far, I got a little bit of merino that came with my first drop spindle, and I did spin that. It was terrible. It's beautiful, I love it, but it was not a good spin, technically speaking. And then I got some Knit Picks Wool of the Andes to share between myself and a couple of other people that I bought drop spindles for, that I'm trying to convince to spin. And one of them has started, at least, so hopefully they will both kind of pick up on it. But I did get some of the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and I have practiced using that. It's a really easy thing to practice with, in my opinion, so I feel like if you're going to learn like something like that. But I also got a different drop spindle from Walnut Farm Designs, and with that drop spindle they sent me some Corriedale top, and they sent me I think it's a 4-ounce bag total, but I weighed some of it this morning and it seems like it might be a little bit smaller than that, but close. The half of it is like a light teal and half of it is a darker teal, and so I'm going to spin those into their individual yarns, and then I'm going to use those individual yarns to then knit something together, whether it be something striped or hopefully maybe something mosaic. I'm not sure how much yarn I'm actually going to get out of it because I'm trying to spin it a little bit thicker. I have been trying, obviously, not obviously, but maybe obviously, to those people who, when you learn how to spin, you're like, how thin can I get it? I have been learning to spin thinner, and then many people who spin will tell you it's harder to go back to spinning thicker. So I'm trying to see if I can spin a little bit thicker. Today's spin is already completed. It was a little thick and thin, so hopefully tomorrow's will be a little bit more consistent. But I just did a single, I did half of the dark teal in a single ply, and then I'm going to do the second single tomorrow, and then I will spin those into a 2-ply, and we will see how that turns out. I'm very excited about it. It's really fun, and I'm really glad that this is kind of encouraged me to pick it back up, because I have been consistently doing it, but the past several months have been largely garden months because I'm also a gardener. So I've been mainly outside. We've had a major heat wave here where I am, and it's been way too hot to be outside. So picking up my knitting needles and spinning and things like that has been like a thing that I can do while I'm inside hiding from the heat, but I've also been sewing and also been crocheting and also been reading. So I do a lot of different things, and I'm trying to, mostly fiber arts, but a lot of different things. So I'm trying to balance that and see if I can kind of maintain some consistency with my hobbies, because I don't want to, I get in this thing where I'll like really go hard on a hobby, and then as the seasons change, obviously my hobbies change. For instance, obviously I'm knitting more in the winter and gardening in the summer, but I would like to be able to kind of consistently knit, even if it's only a little bit every week, versus knit a ton for a few months and then nothing for a few months and things like that. Mainly because I feel like my knitting is more consistent if I do it more consistently. My spinning is more consistent if I do it more consistently. My gardening, I just have to do when the weather is right for it, or I do start seeds indoors, so that actually starts in December, January time, but I'm not doing like a ton of stuff during those months, and then spring hits and I'm like outdoors every single day. But anyway, all of that to say, I started Tour de Fleece today, and I was thinking to myself, I really honestly would like to pick up the camera again and try this thing where I talk about the things that I enjoy doing in my hobbies and stuff. So I'm not gonna go like super deep into anything. I'm not gonna like try to do a whole knitting podcast thing, because like I said, my knitting, I've just kind of picked it up again, and I've been doing a lot of other things like sewing and crochet and things like that. So I think what I want to do is kind of just start from what I'm doing today and then go forward from here and just share as I'm doing things. So that will mean that I will share existing projects that have already been on the needles for a while, or existing projects that I've already started, but that I'll be working on and trying to finish up. And one of my goals for the summer is to get a good portion of my existing whips off the needles. I have several works in progress I have several knitting works in progress. I have some sewing works in progress. I have one crochet work in progress, and I have obviously the spinning will just be a work in progress all month, because I will be working on that all month. But I'm trying to get some things off of specifically my knitting needles, because that's the thing that I have the most going on with. So I figured I would show you what I'm currently knitting on and what is the first thing that I'm trying to get off my needles at the moment. This is a hat that I started a while ago. I spun some of the Wool of the Andes roving into a 2-ply yarn on some drop spindles, and I used the indigo heather roving and the haze heather roving, and I literally just like grabbed a bit, spun it, grabbed a bit, spun it, and just kept doing that, and then eventually plied those two together, plied 2 strands together of just random bits and bobs. So it is very kind of random, but I think it's really pretty. And when I got the Wool of the Andes roving, I also just ordered a couple of balls each of the sport weight and the worsted, because I figured with whatever type of yarn weight I came out with, I would probably need to match it with something, because spinning on drop spindles, especially with me still learning how to do it, I wasn't spinning like big spins, so I wasn't going to be able to do like a huge project with it, so I figured I would have to match it up with something. But I was able to use a sport weight, and obviously my yarn is very thick and thin, there's a lot of variation in it, but it actually worked up really nicely with this sport weight Wool of the Andes yarn. And all I did was, it's just a self-drafted pattern. It's not really like even a pattern, I wouldn't even say, but I just started doing a 1x1 rib. I started with the black, and then I used my hand, like I cast on with the black, and then I used my hand spun for the brim of the hat. And then I did a round of one by one in the black, and then I did a round of knits or purls. I don't even remember which. I guess I did a knit stitch, and then I just continued the one by one rib, but I swapped it. So where I had the purls, now I'm knitting, and where I had the knits, now I'm purling. I learned that from a pattern that I did last year, and it worked really well to keep the brim like the same all the way around, and it looks really neat. So it folds over really nicely. And then instead of switching to what I would normally do with stockinette, I'm just actually doing a one by one rib the whole way. And then I'm just gonna, you know, start decreases and eventually close it off at the top. But I think it's turning out very pretty. I like the way that the hand spun worked up. And then with it being purple and black, my husband would also be inclined to wear it because he is a Ravens football fan, so he will probably borrow this quite a bit, and I will probably have trouble actually wearing it this winter and fall. But yeah, so that is my current thing that I'm just trying to get off the needles, and that's the knitting project that I'm talking about today. Like I said, I do have a spinning project going. I'm working on that Corriedale fiber. I will probably try to insert a like small little clip of me showing you that, but I don't have it with me right now, and I don't feel like going out and going out to the living room and getting it. My hobbies are kind of split up in my house. Gardening stuff is in the basement because that's where I do my seed starting. My knitting stuff is in this room, which is my office, my home office for when I work in the office, and I work like a hybrid job. And then this is my other workspace, my home office, obviously. And this is where I hang out and read because I have this day bed in here, which is really comfortable for reading and napping. And then I also knit in here. And then my closet, I do all my sewing in my closet. And then in my living room is where I spin, and I have all of like my spinning stuff in there. So I have it split up like that because the rooms, I have a lot of rooms, but they're all fairly small. So splitting up my actual like craft things really helps me to stay organized. So all of my yarn is in this room, all of my fabric is in my closet, all of my fiber for spinning is in the living room. And I don't have like a ton of anything. I probably have the most yarn out of it. All of my hobby is like yarn is probably the thing that I have the most of, but I don't really have like a ton of everything or anything. So it's a lot easier if I just have like small groupings of each of the things that I have going on. But anyway, yeah, so that is my second video of the channel. I just wanted to kind of reintroduce myself, and hopefully I will continue this. I think I want to do like maybe a short video every day just through the Tour de Fleece time frame, and just kind of talk about, I'll probably insert a little bit more regarding my spinning once I feel more comfortable getting back into it and everything, and just let you know what I'm knitting on each day, what books I'm reading. I guess I could tell you what book I'm reading right now. I am reading, no, I can't. I don't remember the name of the book. I will link that in the description. I will put what book I'm reading in the description. I will, I'm about to start another book too. I'm about to start Homegoing by Yad Yossi, and I'll also put that in the description. But anything that all my projects, I'll try to link those in the description, or just put like a note of what I'm doing. I can't link the hat because it's not a pattern, but anyway. And then I just will try to keep you abreast of things that are going on. Maybe I'll show you some of the harvests that I'm getting out of my garden, some of the flowers that are popping up and things like that. And anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope to see you again next time. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. Bye.